Hello witches, so today I wanted to do a little tutorial on how to make a charm bag, and this one is specifically for restful sleep. So this is probably different to some of the other ones that you might make or some of the other ones that you might see. So the basic idea with a charm bag is it is like a spell in a bag, and it's something that you generally keep on your person or close to you, so it kind of infuses with your energy as well. So the way that I use these is I make these up with my ingredients and then I will sew it shut and I will keep it in my pillow until I feel like it's kind of losing some of its energy, which is exactly why I'm making this one today, because I previously had another one and I feel like it's kind of lost its energy, so I've dismantled it, cleaned everything, and now I'm going to start again. Okay, so the things that you are going to need if you want to make this exact one like I am. First and foremost, you're going to need a little bag. Now you can use those little organza bags, however I find that the cord on those tends to break. They're not completely sealed, and because they've got little holes in them because of the fabric, things can leak out of them. So I prefer cotton like this. If you don't have a little cotton bag, you can easily make one out of like an old t-shirt, old pillowcase, anything like that. Basically it's just a square. You sew it along the three edges, and then once you put in the things, you sew it along the final edge. I'm also going to include some lavender buds, some mugwort, some chamomile. I'm also going to include, this is a chevron amethyst palm stone. However, you can also use like amethyst crystal chips. You could use a small chunk of amethyst. The good thing with these though is these are flat, which means they're not going to poke you if you have it in your pillow. So that would be why. Mine's a chevron amethyst, which means it's got that little triangle in it. It's also known as dream amethyst. However, you can also just use regular amethyst or any other crystal that you feel drawn to use. I'm also going to include this little charm here. This is a pentacle. I just went through my charms, tried to find anything which might fit with my charm bag, and so I decided I'm going to include a pentacle in this. So last thing, you also need a needle and thread. The other thing that I forgot to add is that you can also incorporate color magic into your charm bags. So the reason that I chose this white bag here is because the color white reminds me of peace and tranquility, which is exactly what I need when I'm making a bag for restful sleep. So first thing I am going to do is I'm going to put in the bulk of my herb, which is going to be probably my mugwort. Dropping it everywhere, as you do. This is really awkward. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of squish it together and crush it up. You don't need to, it's just what I want to do. Let's put in a little bit more. Okay, then I'm going to put in my lavender. Okay. And then I'm going to put in my chamomile. Also, if you don't have herbs, like loose herbs like this, you can actually just use like a tea bag. So if you cut this open, this will also have dried herbs inside. You can just see these are more of the finer kind. It's very similar to what's at the bottom of this. It works exactly the same. These ones are particularly fresh. They smell just as fragrant as these ones. So you can definitely, you know, get them from supermarkets or like, you know, cut them open from tea bags, things like that. Lavender you can quite easily wild harvest. It doesn't need to be the buds. You can actually just like, you know, pick the stems and then dry those. I just wouldn't use fresh herbs purely because they have moisture in them, and if you put them in something like a pillow, they might go moldy, and that's not something that you want when you're, you know, breathing in. You don't want to be breathing in mold or anything like that. So I would stick to using dried herbs, but you can definitely wild harvest what you have access to, and use tea bags and things like that. I forgot to say just before, but lavender is good for promoting peace, for protection, for calming and relaxation, which is a similar reason why I'm using the chamomile. So it says here, chamomile is good for money, sleep, and love. We are using it for the sleep. And like lavender, chamomile is also quite a relaxing herb. All of these herbs are actually very relaxing. You can have them all in tea, like before bed as well, and they are very relaxing. Okay, so that's the herbs done. Now I'm going to put in my little crystal. I'm going to try and kind of squish it in so it's sitting in all the herbs, so it's not just sitting on top. Now, with the charm, you can either put that inside the bag or you could actually sew it on the outside of the bag. I might put mine in the bag this time. You could also sew it on the outside. Okay, so then I'm going to kind of shake it. And then another thing that you can do is you could add some essential oil. I wouldn't add clove oil. I would add lavender oil. However, my lavender oil comes in a big bottle, which is plain. It's the same brand. I just put it in a giant bottle because I use so much of it. But you can definitely add essential oils. I would add something like lavender or something else calming, maybe ylang ylang. I always struggle to say that. Oh, this smells really good now. Okay, and then the last bit is you're going to sew the last edge. So for me, I'm going to fold it over and do just a really basic stitch. I'm not super worried about this coming apart because it's going to be living in my pillow. So yeah, I'm just doing a super basic stitch. If anyone is completely brand new to sewing, I just tied these two bits of string together, tied it on the end, and then I'm just, it's not going to come out then when you pull it through because it's got a knot on it. That's all I do. Super basic. I am not an expert at sewing by any means. And because I've folded over the bag, this is basically just enough to kind of stop it from opening up. If you were actually sewing a charm bag out of like a piece of fabric, then you might want to put the stitches closer together just so that your herbs don't fall out. But for this, I don't need to worry about that so much. Okay. Also, many people believe that charm bags have more power if they are secret, so if nobody else sees them or nobody else knows that you have them. That's just personal preference. Obviously, for the sake of this video, I had to show you and tell you about it. But that's something that you might like to do, and it's something that I've definitely done in the past. So for example, then, like if I'm changing my pillowcase, I would make sure that my partner doesn't see that I've got my charm bag in there. Things like that, but it's totally up to you. Okay. And then last one. And then I would just cut it off, tie a double knot so that it doesn't come undone. So then I would cut it off, tie it on the end, and there is your charm bag. Now the good thing with this is it's fairly flat, so you can put this in your pillowcase and it's not going to annoy you. And then lastly, you can, after you put your oils on there, if you choose to, you can then hold it in your hands and just kind of empower it. So then what you might like to say is something like, may this bag help promote restful sleep, may it provide me protection from nightmares, things like that. And then I would also breathe on it. So then I'd bring it up to my mouth and I'd breathe on it. So that way it's got some of my own energy in it. But those are optional, you do you, but that's just what I like to do. So that's it. That's how you make a charm bag for restful sleep. I'm really curious to know if you also make charm bags, and if you do, what you make them for. Do you have a sleep one? And if so, what kind of ingredients do you put in there? But yeah, hopefully this was helpful, and have a lovely day. Bye.